A little
Okay.
beautiful. So thank you everyone for being here to move into presence together, right? To move, to deepen our breathing is my hope. Not so we can be heroic breathers, but just so we can really benefit from the breath. And we'll create some relaxation. I'll help to create some relaxation so we can breathe deeply. Some strengthening and stability for the body, as well as working with the mind, right? The mind, the emotions, the heart, right? So let's begin. And for this practice, it would be really wonderful for you to have a place to lie down after we do some seated. We will do some standing, I think, too, but definitely have a place to lie on the floor if you can. And if you can't, I feel like you could modify this stuff in a chair, but you'll get more benefit if you come on down to the floor when you're ready, after we're seated. And so I have a little bell and I'm going to ring it. And we'll just start this little seated practice. And then just to say, if the seated practice doesn't work for you, like you can't do sitting right now, you can be standing or lying down. You could even be walking, right? If stillness is just not working for you. So feel free to modify. And I'll just guide us. So that's really me saying this is a loose guidance, and you want to take what feels supportive and kind of let go of anything that doesn't feel supportive. So I'll just let this little bell ring to bring us in to the practice. And we'll just settle into some kind of seated position or some other still position for a moment. Or relatively still position. We might silence our phones, right? So they won't ring. And just take this time, right, to begin to dedicate these beautiful moments to a deepening and an awakening together. So knowing there is some merit in just showing up and staying, devoting ourselves to this little 50 minutes. Just getting a sense of what this sort of dedication can create. And also just dipping into a sense of the land on which you're seated. Right? I'm seated here on the land of like the Narragansett and other indigenous tribes of this area that we now call Rhode Island, right? Unceded Narragansett land and many, many other coastal tribes that lived in this area for tens of thousands of years before colonization. So just resting into as much of the reality as I can access about where I really am, what this place really is. And kind of rooting right to the spot a little bit, because I'm a living being who will one day also become carbon, right? I guess I'll be a part of fossil fuel, this body, right? It will turn into compost, right? So just connecting this body to its home, to the earth, in a very direct way, right? Made of the earth, or as they say in the church, right? Ashes to ashes, right? Made of the earth, this body, the sky, the water, made of the systems. Just feeling into this. And then, sensing, getting a sense of the nervous system. Like, is there a calmness? Or is my pace kind of rapid? Have I had a busy morning? Or maybe I've been running even? And so what's like the internal, what's happening, right? What's happening within? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it heavy? Is it light? Not that you have to name or label anything, but just a little sort of just seeing. Oops. And the senses are present, right? The senses are receiving, and without any effort, or maybe the tiniest bit of effort on my part, hearing is happening, right? Hearing is happening. It's just happening. And also, right, seeing is happening. Now, we could do some looking, right? If I said, look around for a license plate that reads blah, 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 that would be different, right? We'd be looking in a different way, but letting the eyes rest into their sockets, letting them rest. And with the eyes open or closed if you prefer, but notice seeing, rest in seeing, without looking for anything in particular, just resting in seeing. This is the sort of gazing that when I was a kid in school, it would get me in trouble, right? Because if you're just relaxing and seeing, it's not really, you're not really you're not at attention, in the way that some organizations might want you to, but resting now, because this is our practice, resting and seeing, sitting, resting, sinking in to this place, I don't even want to say place, sinking into this opportunity to just seeing. And just seeing. And you could even imagine drinking your tea and just seeing while you drink your tea, and then you'd be tasting as well as you're seeing, right? And someone might look at that and be like, oh, you're not doing anything. And that would be really true. I mean, you'd be lifting the cup to your lips and all that, but just seeing, right? And tasting, hearing. Hearing, just hearing, not trying to listen, like if someone said, listen to this, but resting back into hearing. Now, all this resting back could create some sort of tiredness, right? It could create a little bit of like, oh, I'm resting so much, but I'm not really awake, right? I'm not really present. So we might need a little. And let's do this as we rest into hearing, and as I rest into seeing. I recommend a little bit of gentle, just tapping on the face. Now this isn't really like, this is just like really gentle, right? To help sense maybe let's do forehead, just gentle. Sensing, right? This is feeling, right? Felt sense. Yeah, and then try just stroking, gentle stroking. And now that same effortless felt sense. Right, just a few more, just stroking down the jaw to the chin. And then resting the arms, resting the hands. And just sensing from head to toe. So this is really, where we dip into some deep work when we start to feel sensations, right, in the body from head to toe. So you might be like, well, all I can feel is this, right? I might say, all I can feel is my head right now, or my wrist, or my toe, or my aching this. And I might want to broaden, right, my kind of circle of awareness a little bigger if something is throbbing or pulsing or is, kind of really hot or achy. I might want to root myself a little bit in hearing, right, as I feel, so that this approach can be really beautiful, gentle, and by the approach I mean the energy that I'm directing toward myself, right, toward sensation, this sensation that I'm experiencing, right? So for you too, this sensation, and this beautiful generosity that you know very well, this beautiful generosity. Generous toward yourself in this moment. Giving awareness the opportunity to directly know, to directly touch through these sense doors what is present. Let's take a minute and notice for yourself if you might benefit from eyes closed, being in tune with felt sense within the body. Or if you might be better today with eyes a little bit open, and open could be eyes cast down at the ground, or open could be eyes at horizon level, kind of straight ahead, and eyes resting. Awareness alive and awake, sensing. Awareness has no preference, whether it finds pleasurable, unpleasurable, or neutral. Awareness has no preference. But preferences arise, right? And resistance arises. And clutching, greedy can arise, right? But that is not awareness. That is not awareness. That is the programmed mind. That is reactions, yeah. Built, right, from a past, being shown over and over, right, through our thinking and feeling. Awareness itself, right, sensing, oh, thinking, and coming back to felt sense. Just coming back into reality, the present, felt sense, sense doors. Knowing life directly, right? Knowing life directly. Now let's begin to bring a little bit of movement. And the purpose is going to be to deepen our breathing and to release resistance. So it's not about the movement, but let's just, as you exhale, just really gently let your chin turn toward your left shoulder. As you exhale, yeah, just let it turn. And then as you inhale, and you can go at your own pace, as you inhale, just let your chin come back towards center. And I want you to just do that a few times, the same way. Just exhale, let your head, with your breath, just turn. So it doesn't really matter how far it turns. It's not about, it's not athletic, right? It's more like moving with the in-breath, and then waiting, the out-breath comes, and then there's the turn of the head. And now just stay for a few breaths with the chin just toward the right, or sorry, left shoulder a little bit. And still in the same meditative practice, the same mindfulness practice of what, living through sensation, awareness of sensation, I mean to say, awareness of sensation. Yeah, coming back in breath, head back to center. Stay at center for some breaths, right? Noticing sensation, head, neck, skull, brain, eyes, shoulders, chest. And with an out breath, we'll just let the chin go over to the right. Yeah, and you can let the in breath float the chin back towards center. Again, with your out breath, letting your chin turn to the right. And the in breath back to center. So just one more time, and then just stay with the chin to the right for a few breaths. Yeah, eyes can be open or closed. Resting in the body. And then back to center when you're ready. Now, it's so nice to bring some movement to the upper spine, right? So let's just pretend you're drawing with your nose and just make a little like circle with your nose. Like you're like you're drawing with your nose, which I guess is a little odd, but some circles from your nose. And then you can make circles in the other direction too, and they can be small or big circles. Just sensing into head and neck, skull, neck, throat. Now, what about when you get up to 12 o'clock with your nose? Can you just come down? So your chin's a little toward the chest. And can we just do this a couple times? if you'd like to put a hand or both hands behind your neck for support, you can inhale and just lift your nose. And exhale, just bow the head. So just a little support if you need it, but you don't have to go very far back. It's just however much feels like openness in the front. And then a squeeze in the throat is very important for the health of the thyroid gland. Stay for a moment feeling that squeeze to the throat. It's very good for the health of good. Now, I think it would be wonderful to come down to the ground now. So one of the things I love to do every day is put my legs up, right up on a wall or on a chair. But we're going to do some things down on the ground. So you can come on down, and we're really just, I've got shorts on, so I'm going to, but we're really just continuing with the same work down here. So stay present in the senses, through the senses, feeling. It's hard when you have a to-do list, right? It can be kind of hard. Or if you have a day, something planned, it can be kind of hard. But remember what a gift this is, to feed all this attention, all this vital energy into this system. It's like so potent. So be potent with yourself, right? I say I don't give advice, but be potent with yourself. Really give to yourself very generously as we do this, because the movement is so simple, right? So we'll start like this with our arms at our sides. Just sensing what the breath is doing. And, if you're like me and your lower back is sore, you might like to spend a little bit of time with your knees into your chest, right? And your knees into your chest and your hands on your knees. That's another option. So you can feel your lower back, right? And a third option would be to have your feet flat and your knees just resting together, right? That's a good way to do it too. So whatever your body needs. So just see for a moment if it's this. And if your back was like really just not happy, I would say just don't do anything else and just get a chair and put your calves right on a chair and just rest here in your practice, just knowing that you're receiving all this wonderful extra oxygen. But if you feel like, oh no, some movement would be good, then you could come back to here for a moment. You just sense what the breathing is like now. What it's doing, what the breath is doing on its own. And if the mind is active, really get a sense of, oh yeah, this is the thinking mind. And just notice what thinking feels like. Just so we begin to recognize thinking. We're really clear about it when it's happening. Right? Pictures, images, feelings, all that. Just aware of it so that we can come back into the sensation, the breath. I don't want to say the body because we're coming into awareness of sensation, right? Often awareness of breath is awareness of sensation, right? Or you might hear your own breathing. Good. So let's put the feet down flat for a moment and the arms at the sides. I'm going to do a couple movements strung together. So the first one is inhale, arms all the way overhead, if you can. If they only go to here, that's perfect too. They don't have to go all the way, but if they do, let them go. Good. And the next movement is to bring your knees to your chest while you leave your arms overhead. Yep. Beautiful. Now the third movement is to lift the feet. So we're going to go inhale, feet up toward the sky, right? Straight up. They don't have to straighten, the legs don't have to. And then exhale, we're going to just bend the knees again. Yep. Good. And then inhale, we're going to lower our feet to the floor. Toes first, then the heels. And exhale, we're going to bring our arms back down to our side. So it's that simple and lovely. It's called a vinyasa in Sanskrit, right? When we string these movements together, it's a little dance. And the quality should be such that it's like you're underwater or you're moving through honey or something, you know. It's very much linked to your breath, and it's going to be smooth as you can make it, so that we can make all these connections all throughout the body as we move, body and mind, right? So let's do this. Inhale, arms overhead at your own pace. Your exhale is going to bring your knees slowly in toward your chest. Beautiful. Your next in-breath is going to float your feet up toward the sky and sensing, right? What sensation am I knowing is being known, right? And bending on the out-breath. Inhaling, toes to the ground, followed by the heels. Exhale, arms back down to the sides. Good. Pause for a moment. Just let your knees rest together. Now, if that's like too much, this could just be instead just inhale, arms overhead. Right? In fact, we can all try this. And then exhale, arms come down. And you'll still feel that a lot in your back. A lot will be happening. Right? So try it again. Inhale, arms overhead. Your elbows can be bent or straight. Exhale, coming back down. Now we'll do it with the other movements now. But know that you don't have to. You could just do the arm movement if that feels better for you, more appropriate today. But exhale if you want to, knees into the chest. Now, if you want a little more for your lower back, you could go like this. Inhale, feet to the floor or to the ground. And exhale, knees in toward the chest. So we could go inhale, feet to the floor, feet to the ground. Exhale, knees into the chest. You can feel how this is a wonderful way to flex and round the lower, to move the lower spine, so it doesn't get hung up, tightened up in one position or another, as it can if we sit a lot. Right, so you go inhale, and you feel your belly, your core is strengthening as you lower your feet and as your knees. Now we're going to bring our feet slowly straight up. So when you're ready with an inhale, slowly, your feet float up toward the sky. So strengthening for the core of the body. Exhale, you bend the knees. And you could do this in bed, but it's better to do it on a firmer surface. Not too hard, right? But a little bit hard is, I'd say, I mean, carpeting would be fine, right? And a blanket. I'm on the grass, and it's perfect on these blankets. Right, and then see if you want to bring your legs up one more time, maybe keep them there for a little bit. And if you can find a way every day to, balance like this with your legs against a chair or a wall or the end of your bed, that would be so good for the heart. Because right here, there's all this flow of energy going down the trunk of the tree, which is the legs into the roots here, which is your heart, head. Yeah, so just really appreciating this position, and remembering it a bit, as it's so beneficial. Unless you have like some uncontrolled high blood pressure or some glaucoma, maybe not good for you, right? But basically, you're in an inversion, right? The flow of energy, just vital energy flowing down into your hips, reversing, all kinds of wonderful nourishment happening here. So come back into just the awareness of sensation, a generous, really generous attitude, right? Really generous, curious attitude of a certain amount of resolve to stay in the practice for the benefit of all, right? To train this mind to really be attuned in the way that it can be, right? By feeling into reality, into felt senses. And this beginning of not identifying so much with the thinking mind, and maybe being like, well, if I can feel and hear and see, right now, right, absorbing all the nourishment, all the information that's needed in order to thrive. If I can really milk that a little bit, if I can feed this stillness, feed this ease, feed this sense of abundance as I move through, difficulty, as I move through difficult sensation, some difficulty. But feeding this generous, abundant way, this curious, patient. Good. So you can bend the knees and place the feet down on the ground. Now, if you move your feet so they're about hip width apart, it'll let you probably, unless it hurts your knees, it's going to let your knees just sort of lower over to the left, right? So I'm going to turn a little bit. So you've got your knees lowering to the left. And, my knees are hovering in space, right? But your knees might easily touch the floor. That doesn't really matter, but we're going to just find where the knees just easily go to. And then on our inhale, we're just going to let the core of the body work to bring them back. So take that again, just letting your knees go to the left a little bit. And then feeling in here how there's an engagement to bring the knees back up. Now, what we know is you could fling the knees back up and it wouldn't really engage here. We'd be using a different kind of momentum. But we do want to engage here. So that's why we're going to stay for a moment and let the breathing deepen, let it fill out a little bit, let yourself relax here if you can. Just feeling the bones of the legs, the knees, and I'll call it the calf shin bone, the lower leg bone, right, the thigh. Just feeling the weight of the bones. And when you're ready, that same smooth approach back to center, we're going to go the other way. All right, so we're going to let the knees go over to the right. And it doesn't matter how far you go. It's all about creating a smooth approach back. When you practice Tai Chi and you go real smooth, like you're moving through water, that's what we're doing here as well. You can feel maybe the way the thighs are plugging into the hips in different ways when we create these different positions. So stay for a few breaths. And one way, if you wanted to sort of deepen this sensation, you could rest the right ankle on top or sort of on the outside of the left knee. And the same would be true when we were on the other side. You could have had your left ankle on top of your right. So if you want to try that out, only if it feels okay for your knees. So it's a really wonderful thing when these outside noises come in, because I get to watch what my mind does. And typically there's resistance, there's all kinds of thoughts. And that will never stop. That will never stop, right? That's just the way things are. I mean, I could control it, right? We can control it in certain ways, but these unexpected event reactions, right? And so just knowing this is made of mind, patterning, right? This is built, and knowing this, seeing this, offers an opportunity for a new way of thinking. And I don't have to tell you about that, because that's where like your inspiration will come from, and where your most wholesome thinking will come from, and your most generous thinking, right? So we'll all experience that on our own, right? But this other thinking, notice that it's all past, and it's all from the past. And planning for the right. So that's not really thinking. It's sort of just like almost like all the ads, that are stalking us, right? So recognize it for what it is and come back into reality, the reality of this moment and these sense doors, this experience, right? And so after you feel satisfied with this little twist, let's see if we can bring the knees again toward the chest. And what I really want us to do is hold on to the legs somewhere. So I kind of want you to see if you can reach for your ankles or your toes or your knees, or if you're wearing long pants, you could hold your pant legs. But we're going to try a few different positions with the legs. And it's all really done to feed the whole body. It's not really about the legs or stretching the legs. It's just about massaging everything, all the organs. So just holding wherever you can, like a baby in the crib. And you're gonna just come into a little squat, right? So your knees wide and your feet in the middle. Yeah, if you can, and you could be holding wherever, right? And then you're gonna inhale and just bring your legs straight up again. Yep. So you're gonna exhale and bring your knees wide. Yep. And then inhale and extend your legs up. Exhale, wide again. Inhale, legs up. Once more, we'll go exhale, knees wide. So it's like a frog-like squat, and your lower back will really appreciate it in this position, right? And then go up again, and we're gonna bring our feet a little bit wide, right? So like a straddle split. So you're gonna go wide with your feet. It doesn't have to be real wide, just a little bit. And then we're gonna bring the legs back together again. So you're gonna bring them a little bit wide. Back together. Right, you're holding on wherever you can reach. A little bit wide and stay this time. Just see what this is like, see what sensation is happening here. hands back together and bring them back down into the squat. And then put your feet on the floor or the ground and let your knees rest together. Beautiful. And just see what the effect was of lifting the leg. And then when you're ready to, go ahead and roll over to your abdomen. You're going to do a few things on the belly, right? So you can just stretch your arms out in front. And you're going to come into a little prayer position with the hands. So here's my hands, they're joined together. Not real tightly, but just kind of loosely. And I've got them overhead. And then I'm just going to put my feet a little bit overlapped. So I'm just like a long pencil. And if you can take your glasses off and such, you can put your forehead right on the ground maybe. Right? So you got to tuck your chin in like you did before. And just put your head right down. And take just a couple minutes here, breathing through the nose if you can. Good, and just noticing if your breath is, relaxing a bit, maybe deepening or broadening a little bit. This posture is so good for any kind of like anxiety, really, for when the nervous system is really racing or contracted, and it can. I know for me, it offers a great sense of like safety for the front of my body, for the belly and the gut, and that place where I can feel so constricted. To see if it works for you, it's called Danda Pranam in Sanskrit, which means downward facing staff pose. But you've also seen it when, like, if you ever met like a living saint or someone who you felt was so holy, right, that you wanted to lie down and kiss their feet or touch their feet. You've seen people do this, or maybe you've done this yourself, right? So it's also just this very humble, humble position, right? Humble attitude in the posture. So take a few more breaths, and then we're gonna just bring our hands in. We're gonna separate our feet and bring our hands in flat. And now we'll feel the back squeeze as we just lift our face a little bit. But you know what? Let's do this first. Let's put the head down. Let's put the hands under the forehead. And before we lift our face anymore, let's lift one leg at a time, but not high at all. So just let's say my right leg, I'm going to lengthen it out and really just go for length more than height. Just reach my right toes back, 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 feeling the leg engaged. Right, or what are you feeling, right? What are you feeling in your lower back, in your right hip and leg? And when you relax it, what's that like? And take that again, where you float your right leg long. It's squeezing. And then you release it, you relax it. I kind of want to show you the legs, right? So one more time, the right leg, right? So your leg, it lengthens, it just stretches out. It might come off the floor a little bit, but it doesn't really have to. It's just going to lengthen out. It's going to tighten and squeeze. And all of this is engaging, right? Your hip, your thigh, back through your toes, like someone's pulling your sock off, and then relaxing. And this is just so good for your lower back. Right? So rest for a moment and just feel the effects of that, and then we'll try the other leg. Right? So it'll be your left leg just reaching along like someone's pulling off your boots or pulling off your socks. You're reaching, reaching, reaching. And then relaxing. Really relaxing. Yeah. And one is again reaching through that left foot. And relaxing. And one last time you'll take this. Let's take a good long rest. And then one last time, lengthening through that left side. Maybe lifting, but not necessarily. And releasing. And now I think you'll find it a little easier to come into that little cobra pose where we're going to lift our face and chest. All right, so we'll start here, just hands flat. So this is a tiny back bend. This is just the head off the ground. And sometimes, like if my back or neck were really tight, it might just be like just slightly off the ground, not even looking up at all, right? But feel how the whole body engages when you lift your head, right? When I lift my head, I feel it. And then we'll release with the out breath and just relax. We'll keep the hands where they are. Right, so we'll let the body engage to lift the face. And then relax. And once more, and just stay for a moment. You might want to bend your right knee as you lift your face. You might want to bend your left knee just to feel into, the lower back, the hips, the waist, the belly. Yeah, you might want to bend both knees. Good, and then release and relax. Turn your face to the side, let your arms rest at your sides. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. How can it be almost 12? I was hoping for so much more time together. Susanna had to go. So since we are almost done, we will do one more movement on our backs. So let's roll over. One more time. We're going to do something lovely for the hips. And then I'm going to leave you here to rest. And what I would recommend is you can extend this rest past the hour into another 10 minutes, where what you'll be practicing is simply what we were practicing to begin with: awareness of sensation, awareness of hearing, awareness of seeing, right? And in stillness. But let's finish with a little hip opener. So let's lengthen the right leg, and we'll have the left knee bent. And we're going to start with our arms straight up in prayer position, right? Like kind of patty cake hands together. And then on the inhale, we'll let the left knee just open out to the side, and we'll let the arms go wide. All right? So it's like tree pose on your back. And then with the exhale, we'll let the knee come back up and the hands together. Inhale, knee to the side, arms wide. And exhale, back up. Take that again. Inhale, knee to the side, arms wide. Exhale. One more time. Knee to the side, arms wide, and stay for a moment. Good. You could take your ankle and put it on top of your other leg for a moment. And then slide your left ankle down your right leg. So the ankles are crossed. Lift your left leg off your right leg. And lower it to the ground. Good. Put the right foot flat. And now we're going to let the right knee go out to the side. Right, so you're going to go inhale, right knee to the side. Let's see which way is best so I can see you, but right knee to the side. And then exhale, hands together, knee up. Inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Inhale again. And exhale. Good. One more time. Inhale. Stay for a few breaths, and then you can take your right ankle and place it on top of your left thigh. And you can slide that right ankle down. And you can extend that leg for a moment. And you can lower the leg. Now let's try the same thing, both knees out to the side, right? So we'll start with both knees bent and hands together. And we're gonna open and close a few times. Ready? So we'll inhale, knees to the side, arms wide. And exhale, back together. It's like a book, opening and closing, right from the spine, right? Opening to the center of a book. But you're the book, right? Your body's the book. Beautiful. A couple more. In breath, open. Out breath, to close. How about one more time? Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now we'll just take a little rest. So wherever you are, let's do a few deep breaths together. So settling in, you could be seated or lying down, whatever feels best. And we're going to just let the body settle. And we'll take a long, soft inhale together. And a long, soft exhale. Beautiful. And then just natural breathing as you rest the body, as you let the body really let go. And Shanti, right? Peace, peace, peace within. Take another long, soft, easy breath. And equal length out breath. And back to natural breathing. And one more time, when you're ready to, a long, soft in-breath. An equal length out breath. And back to natural breathing. staying here a good long time in this deep kind of well of resting. Relaxation of effort and awareness on the infinite. That's what the Yoga Sutras prescribe as our program when practicing relaxation of effort and awareness on the infinite. I'm so grateful for our time together. Thank you so much.